So, hello everyone, welcome back to Big Steve 101's YouTube channel. We've been putting out a lot of videos lately, but this one I feel like is going to be kind of interesting. This is my dream card for All-in 2018, which if you don't know is the co-run show between Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks. It's kind of built around the Being the Elite series in some ways, but I feel like the biggest thing about it is it's supposed to be Indy Mania, and some people are like, well, what is Indy WrestleMania? That's not going to happen. The whole question, can they sell out 10,000 seats? One, I think they can. And two, I believe it's kind of inevitable because it's gotten so much press. I mean, much like WrestleMania weekend, actually, other people are going to be in Chicago. Other promotions are starting to tell them they'll be there. They're having a convention that weekend. This is going to be probably one of the biggest events in wrestling this year. So a couple things I'm going to run down. Rules for my dream card video this time. If they've already been signed to compete, they have to be on it. Two, I have to explain which promotions are going to be there. I assume Ring of Honor, obviously, Being the Elite is based out of there with everyone except Kenny Omega, so they'll be there. They have a deal with New Japan and a deal with CMLL, so you can expect people from those promotions to be there. But what I would also expect is Ring of Honor's using Austin Aries, which I think means they probably have some level of a deal with TNA. And TNA has been all about getting their performers to branch out and bring in new interests in themselves. So they'll likely attend. And I think some of the smaller wrestling shows like Progress and Combat Zone and GCW and just really everyone is probably going to attend. Lucha Underground now has a big deal with TNA, so I think they'll feel the same way. They're not filming right now, so Lucha Underground stars will be free to take indie bookings. So I really do think we're going to get a wide shot here. And a lot of these guys, when we get to them, will explain what their connection is to Bullet Club, but it'll be obvious in a lot of cases what their connection is. And some of these matches are really out there and may happen. Some of them are really out there and obviously won't happen, but they'd be fun to watch in my mind. I also included a great big card, I think 14 matches in total, because like I said, Indy Mania, if WrestleMania can go 14 matches, so can Indy Mania. So that was my logic there. And without further ado, let's jump into the card. One of the things I talked about was trying to get the full power of Bullet Club, every member, into this event, which seems really hard until you open up with a big match like this, a 7-on-7 elimination tag. And I have Los Ingobernables de Japón versus Bullet Club. Now, I'm going to say Los Ingobernables comes with the team of Tetsuya Naito, his former World Tag League partner Rush, coming up from CMLL, Evil, Sanada, Bushi, Hiromu, and Daryl. And Daryl will play a big part in this going forward because he's a part of why this story's happening. From the Bullet Club side, we'll have the tag team of Yujiro and Chase, who have gotten together of late. Gino Gambino, who's a fun wrestler to watch if you haven't seen him. And all the Tongans, obviously Bad Luck Fale, G.O.D., Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and their brother Hikuleo. And we'll call this the Justice for Daryl 7-on-7 tag team elimination match. I think Ingobernables go over here, with Naito going over Bad Luck Fale. And I think at no point does Daryl get in the ring, but maybe Daryl doesn't technically get eliminated either. Maybe Hiromu even hits like a moonsault with Daryl, so technically Daryl hits a moonsault. Something goofy there. I know some people don't like Daryl because he is too goofy, but I think he fits Hiromu's kind of childish crazy. And so I think that this is a fun match. Tetsuya Naito getting to go over Bad Luck Fale and leading the Ingobernables to a big victory would be kind of fun opener. If you watch Being the Elite, you know this one's coming. Hangman Page versus Joey Ryan. Joey obviously has to come back and survive that vicious beating from the finale. So spoilers, Hangman apparently beat Joey Ryan to death with his shoe. But obviously Joey survived so that he can be at All In and they can finally find out once and for all who is the true penis pretender. Yes, this is ridiculous, but it's no more ridiculous than a battle over revenge for a cat. I think the first couple matches will be kind of in the goofy side, but it will all be in the Being the Elite mold, and that will involve a lot of good wrestling. that will go along with those goofy stories. So I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. In this case, I think Joey Ryan goes over. I know I'm saying Bullet Club members lose a lot, but that's because at the end of the show, they got to make it back and kind of take back the Bullet Club show. So early on, I don't think they'll pick up many victories. All right, coming up, one of the ones that I don't really have a lot of word into how it will happen, but I do want to see Last Man Standing, Joey Janela versus Jimmy Havoc. These two guys are nuts. If you see some of the spots they put each other through, deathmatch wrestling is a big part of indie wrestling. Even if it's not your style, you have to respect that it is a big part of the indie show at this point. So to totally ignore it, the fact that it's there would be kind of dumb on their part. Embrace it by bringing in two of the better guys. Janela and Havoc have met before, but this would be a chance to bring their show to a wider audience. And they're just fun guys to watch. So I think I would have Havoc win this match. But in this case, it really doesn't have any storyline meaning, so it doesn't really matter who goes over, but this would be an incredibly brutal match to watch and would definitely expose more people to the indie hardcore scene, which is always a good thing, to get more people, more options in wrestling so that they're more willing to watch. Kota Ibushi will be at All-In. He's one of Kenny Omega's dearest and closest friends, and let's face it, Will Ospreay is also going to be at All-In because of his long-term relationship with Marty Scurll as rivals, quote-unquote. I was thinking this would be a great chance for an IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. I know Kota usually competes as a heavyweight, but this could be a good special challenge match for the IWGP light Junior Heavyweight title because Kota is technically light enough to compete in that division. We would see Ospreay versus Kota. It would be a fun match. I don't think anyone would look down at that from a technique standpoint. It'd be fun to watch. I think Ospreay retains because I think Kota long-term would stay in the heavyweight division. But for a one-off show like All-In, this would be a great match to see. Next, we take advantage of the fact that Lucha Underground is both in the offseason and has a new deal with TNA. These guys need a way to get over in the offseason. So I propose a Lucha Underground Trios Championship match with the champions Killshot, the Mac, and Dante Fox. A very high-flying and unique team defending against the team that appeared at Lucha Underground vs. TNA, King Cuerno, Drago, and Aerostar. So they'll be flying all over the place. Killshot and the Mac will be flying all over the place. Dante Fox flies probably better even than Will Ospreay at times. And then on the other side, the third party in will be a more grounded team. The new TNA version of LAX. Now that they have a deal with Lucha Underground, this really wouldn't be that big a deal for them to have Homicide and the current TNA Tag Team Champions go in there and put up a good fight for the Lucha Underground Trios title with Conan and Diamante. Just have the whole LAX gang there. I think winner, you would go Drago, Cuerno, and Aerostar in this match, but it's just great to have that TNA get to put LAX in there with Lucha Underground teams and would really help expand their co-branding. Next, I say that we should have a submission match between Zack Sabre Jr. and Matt Riddle. Go watch any of the matches between these guys in the past. It's like watching two octopuses trying to rip each other's tentacles off. The way these guys move and create submissions and fold out of submissions is just on a whole nother level. This would be incredibly fun to watch. Also, the striking between these two guys is amazing. Go watch their match for the Evolve title from Evolve 102. I was there in the seats. It was crazy watching them go back and forth. This would potentially be a highlight of the night. And again, Zack Sabre Jr. and Matt Riddle easily, again, not nearly as hard to get as Janela and Jimmy Havoc. Sabre Jr. knows the guys from New Japan, and Riddle is a laid-back dude, so it won't be too hard to bring into the fold. Next, I speculate that we have an Austin Aries sighting, because there should always be an Austin Aries sighting at every indie event. Just kidding. But yeah, no, he tends to show up at everything. And he goes after one of the only belts he's not holding at the moment, the Crash World Championship. Now, I think with Rey Mysterio having options for WWE matches and New Japan matches going forward, he's going to drop the Crash World title. And who better to drop it on than Carlito, who has a unique attitude that's really different from anyone else in professional wrestling with his I don't care kind of shtick. And he's a perfect foil for Austin Aries, who's always very serious, him being kind of a goof. Also, the banana versus the apple eating. It would be fun. It'd be a funny joke. And Aries picking up the Crash title, which for those going, Aries doesn't work for Crash. Well, he did for WrestleCon weekend. And Aries doesn't seem to mind working everywhere. He wants to get paid, so this wouldn't be odd for him at all. I think it'd be a fun match. Aries versus Carlito for a title. Make it happen. All right, now we get into one of the first matches where I don't have a ton of control. Tessa Blanchard and Deonna Purrazzo have already both been announced as All-In. They're obviously going to fight each other. Deonna Purrazzo and Tessa Blanchard are both very good wrestlers. That's not a problem. But I do think new Ring of Honor signee Tenille Dashwood will also be competing, making this a triple threat women's match. If only because she's in Ring of Honor already, so she's easy to approach for them. And this whole thing is about getting the 10,000 people outside of a WWE show, so it's kind of like a middle finger from Cody to the WWE. I think that's actually a real inspiration for why Austin Aries and Carlito would both agree to compete, and it's definitely a reason Tenille would consider competing. So definitely going to be a lot of guys trying to give that bird up to the E with this show. So expect a lot of former WWE people to drop by. Next, I think the Young Bucks are going to exploit their really close relationship with TNA producer and writer Jimmy Jacobs. Again, this is part of the reason why I think Lucha Underground and TNA will be a big part of the show. Also that, and TNA is all about getting people to promote themselves now. But Jimmy Jacobs will do a Monsters Ball Open to try and put over Congo Kong, who is his current ward in character. That's what Jimmy will be doing. The people that will come in will be Abyss, obviously, because he has an ongoing rivalry with Congo Kong, but I don't think they'll solve that off of a TNA show. Walter, just because he's one of the best indie big men there is. If you've ever seen him fight, he basically destroys a chest every time he throws a slap, and he'll throw about 100 of them a minute. Then you got Keith Lee, who's one of the most athletic big men in all of wrestling. And Brian Cage, who's one of the best athletic young big men. He's great talent. He competes for TNA and Lucha Underground. He's fun to watch. He can do a lot of things that a guy his size simply should not be able to. And I expect he goes over in this match. But more importantly, this is just a way for Jimmy Jacobs to advertise his character and his ward of his character, Congo Kong, utilizing his friendship with the Young Bucks, and gives us a chance to watch a lot of big-time indie performers get into a match together and throw people around and hit people with stuff. It'll be fun to watch. Next, one of the most long-awaited Being the Elite matches. Flip Gordon versus Cody Rhodes. I think this is where we see Flip finally get onto the All-In card, is by facing Cody. Cody will obviously be backed by Brandy Rhodes and Bernard, as he always is, but I think Stephen Amell agreed to appear on the show, and he's good friends with Cody, so obviously he'll be Cody's backup. I do think Flip Gordon goes over Cody at his own show, and a lot of people will say, why would Cody lose at his own show? Because that would tell a great story for Being the Elite. Whether or not, there's ways you could do that where Stephen Amell turns on Cody because he realizes he's a dick, or, Brandy turns on Cody because she secretly likes Flip. There's a lot of things in story you could do here, but I think Flip has to go over to pay off this long-standing rivalry on Being the Elite where he and Cody just can't get along because Cody's mean to him for no reason. Now we get into paying off a New Japan story. I think after a few more appearances with WWE, we're going to see a New Japan solo-only contract exclusive with Rey Mysterio. Except for a few indie bookings he'll do on the way. I just can't see Rey Mysterio staying with the Crash and smaller promotions when he's getting the deals from New Japan. So that's why I think he drops the Crash title. But I also don't see him working a WWE full schedule. So this show, which is going to be kind of a pseudo New Japan show, we'll talk about that later, would be a great place for him to come back to America and get a big pop. Also, built-in rivalry with Marty Scurll after what he did at Strong Style Evolve, where he took off his mask and stole it. I think this would be a great chance to do a mask versus hair match. Obviously, Rey Mysterio would win and shave Marty, but it'd be a great chance for Marty to play the big villain trying to beat up the small guy, and for Rey to do his heroics one more time. I know Marty's not particularly large, but he could still definitely pull off the bully character against the very diminutive Rey Mysterio. Next, we have an absolute dream tag team match between the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks. This would be one of the most high-flying, exciting matches that you'll see. Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix versus Nick and Matt. Both of these, all four of these guys obviously are already all in. I think this one's pretty much a lock to happen. If Cody doesn't go over, you expect the Young Bucks will go over on their show. So I'll have the Young Bucks winning. But there will be no losers of this match. This will be a phenomenal exhibition that will really make you enjoy professional wrestling again. Even if you don't like pro wrestling, this is the type of match that will make you like it, because it'll just be so fun and so exciting. Next up, you'll have a Ring of Honor World Championship match as part of a co-main event. Ring of Honor will be a big supporter of this, obviously, letting Being the Elite be there. I don't believe that we'll go through it without having a Ring of Honor Championship match, and I still believe next September Dalton Castle will still be Ring of Honor champion, because they bred him naturally. He's a homegrown talent, and he'll deserve a long run with the belt. He's earned it. So he and the boys are going to go up against the franchise Jay Lethal. And I think this is where Dalton Castle gets another match with Jay Lethal that will once again steal the show and be a big show-off event for Ring of Honor and what talent that they have. So, with all due respect to Jay Lethal, I think Dalton holds this belt for roughly a year. So I don't think he drops it quite yet. And then finally, knowing that both Okada and Kenny Omega have been already signed on for this event, the main event can only be part 4 of this epic series of matches. Kenny Omega versus Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight title. Now, some of you are going to say, the IWGP Heavyweight title won't be defended in America. Not only will it be defended in America at All-In, this is going to be the first time, as far as I know, that the IWGP Heavyweight Championship will be lost on American soil. Kenny Omega will finally get his crowning moment in Chicago in front of a relative home crowd, at least the home continent crowd for him in Chicago. Finally find a way to get the belt off Okada after all this time in another classic match. Dave Meltzer will be downright, obsessing over what happens in this match. And if we close out the event like this, I think this would be an almost perfect card. Now, as always, like, share, and subscribe if you like what we're doing here at Big Steve 101's channel. I understand that dream cards are a subjective thing. If you don't like what I threw down, tell me what's wrong with it. Tell me what to change. Tell me what I'm being dumb about and don't know what I'm talking about. Or suggest your own dream cards for All-In. Remember, this is a great event because it's indie wrestling. It can be anything you want. So look at my card, tell me what I did wrong, fix it, and make an even better card than I did. And link it when you comment with your card. Link it to me so I can see your card and we can have a discussion about whose is better, what someone did that someone else didn't do. I would really appreciate to see what you guys think.